as he was dangerous. A black t-shirt and jeans, meant to help him blend into the background like the rest of the hired security, clung to his rock-solid body like a lover. His skin, several shades darker than her own light brown, glowed with health and vitality. She doubted it came from any kind of product. None of the high-end brand names she'd shielded as an influencer. The smooth curve of his shaved head begged for hands to cradle it, to guide it down between her thighs. Focus, Meghna. Observe. Find his weaknesses, not your own. She took the mental reprimand like a slap, all the while tilting her head and laughing breathlessly at something that had made Aston's cronies chortle. It was easy, pretending to be interested in what they were saying. They didn't expect real engagement, didn't expect her to actually listen. So most of the time, she eventually feigned disinterest and wandered away, just a few feet, so she could eavesdrop in earnest with a drink in her hand. And the few times that she stayed in the circle, well, that was infinitely valuable as well. That was why she was here, with her arm looped through Mirko's, periodically blinking her heavily made-up eyes at him in vapid adoration, while his right-hand man seethed. Sasha Nichols had never liked her, regarded her with barely veiled suspicion. Born of a Russian mother and an American father, with loyalties 100% for sale. Dual nationalities and an utter lack of conscience was something he and Mirko had in common. He required careful monitoring, even in situations like this, where she was nothing but a pretty prop for his boss. Her watcher was getting in the way, though, splitting her attention, sending prickles across every inch of skin bared by her bias-cut slip dress. He was as different from Mirko and Sasha as night from day, and not just because her fair-haired and pale-skinned protector and his equally Nordic-appearing henchman were the whitest of white men, and Mirko a white human at that. The stranger, who was very likely not a security guard at all, was a supernatural, like her. Her instincts identified him as a shifter of some kind, the specifics of which she couldn't guess from this distance. Unlike Sasha, who had shifter blood but couldn't actually shift, and resented the whole of the universe for it, this man didn't have any obvious insecurities. And unlike Mirko, who'd bought and paid for every companion in this room in one way or another, Mr. Shifter didn't have to demand the room. He already owned it, simply by standing in an alcove and spanning it with his gaze. Did that include her? No, never. Her kind belonged to no one. Don't forget that, Meghna. Don't forget why you're here. As if that were a possibility. She scoffed at the warning voice. She didn't have the luxury of forgetting. Not in this world. Not in this life. Not after the darkest day and the light that had been shined upon supernaturals afterward. Eventually, many humans had gone back to their idea of normal. Work and school and leisure activities. The grocery stores had been restocked after the calamities that had plagued the past few years. The grief for those lost to sickness and violence had dulled to a throb instead of the sharp, persistent spike. The economy was slowly rebounding. The TV shows and streaming channels and podcasts were much the same as they had been, though perhaps a bit more patriotic and pro-government than before. Those who had never experienced oppression or an ism lived as they always had, oblivious, privileged. Her own upbringing should have marked her for that callous delusion that the only colour that mattered was the green of money. A rich man's pampered daughter, born among the Washington elite, into a higher caste and generational wealth, raised in her uncle's Bollywood and Hollywood circles. Should have, could have, would have. But she'd never had the chance to be simply that vapid socialite who voted conservatively because of her tax bracket.